Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man?
Hey guys, welcome back to A2D. Man, it's been a while. It's been about a month. Got some personal and some medical issues going on, so that's the reason for the little delay. So my apologies, guys. I know you guys have been craving for some content here, but we are back, and we are going to be getting into a lot more than just football from now on. So, as always, I am here with my partner Brian. Hey, man, it's been a little bit, but I just saw you on Sunday, so we still communicate, but our fans haven't really seen us. Your mic's not on, buddy. Come on. I know it's been a long time, but you got to turn your mic on. There we go.
It's been a while, man. It's definitely been a while. A little rusty here. No, but man, happy to be back. Definitely. Like you said though, we missed a lot. We were gone for a little bit here, but we mentioned football. Super Bowl right around the corner here. We got the Eagles and Chiefs coming up. Personally, I'm going with the Eagles if you ask me. But man, yeah, that's kind of it for football. We're at the end. That's why you mentioned we're not gonna really get into any of the football stuff anymore because there's not really much else to talk about other than Eagles or Chiefs. Who you got, really? And for me, it's Eagles.
Well, real quick, you posted something in you sent me something the other day about all this stuff being scripted. I mean, we could talk about it real quick. Did they release the Super Bowl script a little too early this year? I think if Philly wins 37-34, I think Roger Goodell has some explaining to do, but I do think, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I think Philly is just slightly the better team. I think they can kind of do whatever they want on both sides of the ball. So I do think Philly is probably and their speed is going to show up on that field in Arizona. So I do believe Philly wins this game. I don't want them to win this game, but I do think I'm right there with you, man. But did that script get released a little too early this year?
Dude, isn't that crazy how who was it? Aaron Foster was one name. I know he for sure. But there's several other NFL players that have come out to say it. So it's kind of trippy. It's like, are they all just like conspiring and coming out with this, or is there actually, do the referees want some, teams to win? If you're a Bengals fan, I know you're saying that it's rigged. But I mean, that to me, it's like, dude, the dude was out of bounds and you hit him. You got to own that. Take that L, move forward, have some, yeah, that is what it is. I don't know if you can script that or if that was part of the plan. You never know. But yeah, the whole script thing, that's going pretty crazy right now.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. I mean, after the Charger loss to Jacksonville, I mean, that was a big comeback. I mean, in Lawrence's first playoff game. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, all the memes that we're seeing about it. It'd be interesting to actually dive into it and find out somebody that's willing to actually talk about it. But as far as the Super Bowl, man, I really hope it's just a competitive game. We've both kind of made comments like, do we even want to watch it? Like, I don't think so about either team, but it's the Super Bowl. I'll probably turn it on.
Yeah. And I mean, just based off matchups though, like Philadelphia, they built their team almost, it's like to beat Kansas City or to be a passing style offense. Mahomes, they have Mahomes and they have Kelsey, but man, they got DBs all over. They rest the passer really well. So to me, the Eagles kind of just match up. It's a tough matchup for them. I think the Eagles they should win unless, Mahomes miracle happens. So you never know with that guy.
Yeah. I mean, the Philly did get ended up being a beat up San Francisco team throughout that game. But I think they were going to beat them anyway, just the way they were playing. So Philly is a good team, man.
That's funny that you mentioned that. Like, one of my supervisors at work is a Niner fan. My brother's a Niner fan, and they come in today, and that was one of the topics of conversation was, oh, if Purdy doesn't get hurt, we easily beat them. I'm like, dude, you guys got handled by like what, 2 or 3 scores?
Yeah.
Like, is Brock Purdy really going to make that different? I know he's a huge upgrade over no quarterback, which they had, but I still think the Eagles find a way to win that game, but maybe by like 7. It might not be by like 20 or whatever it was, but they win by, I think, 7 or 10 points. Philly, they're just a good team, man. Hats off to the GM. Like I was telling you, we talked, a couple weeks ago, like about the awards, who's the MVPs and all this crap. And I said GM of the year is for sure the Eagles. 10 of their 11 starters on offense he drafted, except for AJ Brown, who he traded for. And then he basically rebuilt the whole defense, getting Hassan Reddick, Gardner Johnson, Bradbury, bringing all them in this offseason. And and you push your chips in. It's kind of the motto of the last few years. We saw it with the Rams last year, Bucks 2 years ago. You go all in, you bring in a bunch of good players, and it kind of works out. They were able to do it with Jalen Hurts still on his rookie deal. He's about to get paid big in this probably this off season. But man, they went in it for it, and I think it's going to pay off for them.
Yeah, and I think AJ Brown's actually the difference in this game. I don't see anybody. Is L'Jarius Sneed really going to be able to keep up with AJ Brown as their best corner? They got a lot of young guys in that secondary, and I know Kelsey on the other side of the ball, but I feel a little bit more comfortable, with the matchups going the other way. So, yeah, we're both on Philly. I don't know if that's who we want to pick, but just going with our brains, I think that's both of our pick. And hey, I'm gonna go 37-34. Let's go with that. Let's go
Right,
with the computer
right.
pick, baby.
It's funny you say that. Last year I went because the Simpsons came out with their little prediction that had the Bengals actually winning
Hmm.
last year, and that's why I went with that, and it ended up being the opposite, and the Rams did. So, yeah, I'm going with the Eagles just because, like I said, I already explained. I think they're the better team.
Yeah.
That about wraps it up though with football. Let's get into some hoops though, man. It's hoop season now. That's you said
Mhm.
we saw each other Sunday. We're in our men's league. Well, we actually played against each other first time. It was a fun one though. We got each other a couple times. That's how we usually do it. Good fun matchup. But man, the big news, the huge news in the NBA is the Kyrie Irving trade
Mhm.
over to Dallas. A lot of people are saying, oh, Kyrie is it's Kyrie. It's the new Kyrie anyway. The old Kyrie is gone. Like he's just, a lot of people don't have optimism that it's going to work out. Me personally, I mean, he went back to his old number two. Maybe he brings back the old Cavs Kyrie. Because Luca, man, you saw what he was able to do in the playoffs last year. Like he had his team to the Western Conference Finals, I believe. So you
Mhm.
give him a guy like that was with Jalen Brunson, who is a solid player, but a healthy, locked in Kyrie Irving is obviously another level, and that's the big question: is he going to be locked in, or is he going to be flat Earth Kyrie? What Kyrie are we getting?
So, I've already kind of heard some rumblings, like, Mark Cuban's comments about the whole, anti-Semitism stuff from a couple months ago. And what I'm curious to know is how it does fit. I think Kyrie is Kyrie, man. Like you see him dropping 40 points still in games. When he wants to play, he's probably the best point guard. I mean, if you consider Luca a point guard, but he's probably still one of the better scoring point guards of all time, let alone in the league today. So um, that could be really deadly, those two together. I don't really see him having really a motivation problem. The only thing I could see that I could see maybe being an issue is him and Luca are both ball dominant guards, and they're both ball dominant. So kind of what you see with the Lakers, like who's going to have the ball, who's going to get the ball in this situation, and I think they're going to up their wins, and they're probably going to lock in like a top 5 seed with Kyrie. Um, they have to have. I think Kyrie has to be more of a facilitator though, and let Lucas be the scorer. Um,
I see, and just real quick, just to get in on that, because that's where I kind of A2D just slightly. LeBron's pretty ball dominant, and him and Kyrie work together pretty well. Jalen Brunson, even he's a scoring type that kind of works. Luka is ball dominant, but he can play off ball. They can both shoot too, so that I know the Russ and LeBron, they're both ball dominant, but neither of them are the great shooters. Both of these guys can shoot, especially the three. So I think they fit pretty well. I think Kyrie, they're going to pick and choose. There are times where even Spencer Dinwiddie was a nice fit in Dallas because he
mhm,
was able to get his. That's what they need, and he's just a inflated version of what Dinwiddie was able to. In Brunson, like
yeah.
they're missing that. That second guy that can work without Luca, because without Luca right now they got nobody. So they need someone that can obviously create, and Kyrie is, like you said, unguardable. One of the best scorers in history, especially for his size. So to me, on paper, it looks great. I think the fit wise, like I know they're both ball dominant, and I've heard that. But look at LeBron, look at the Cavs. He's him and Luca actually play very similar styles of games. I'd say Luca has got a little bit more dog in him, a little bit more closer right away than LeBron does, but they play similar games. So I think Kyrie actually is going to fit pretty well on paper, at least. You never know how it's going to go. Late game situations. They both might want the ball depending on who's flowing. But on paper, I think it actually works out. And then you got Christian Wood, Hardaway. On paper, man, I think that they along with the Clippers with this new Steph Curry injury. I think the Clippers and the Mavs are the two teams that are likely to come out of the West. If you ask me, I know the Nuggets have been on a nice little run, and Joker might be on his third straight MVP, but I don't think they're a serious contender. I don't think that they're gonna get past the teams even like the Clippers. Man, can take them out if they're healthy, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I have some bias, obviously, so I'm not going to even go into my squad. I mean, I know you keep leaving them out, but we get Booker back tonight, and we're still in fifth spot, and we started off pretty
Actually,
hot and
climbing
slow.
too. You guys were like 12 or something like 2 weeks
We
ago.
got as low as
So
10, yeah, but we now we're winning games, and we're winning games pretty easily, and I don't know, man, with Booker coming back and with with everybody kind of starting to play their role the way they're supposed to, I think Jay Crowder's about to get traded. We're going to get some pieces back for him for depth. The one good thing about Booker being out, I don't want to go too far into the Suns, man. I didn't want to do this,
go
but
for it, man.
uh,
Hey, if they're a
the
contender, they're a contender.
the one thing I say, the good thing about Booker being out, with Campaign being out, Shamet being out, we go really deep into that bench. And so now we're starting to get guys some minutes that might play a role down the stretch. So we got everybody's coming back. So we still have three guys coming back from injury with Shamet, Payne, and Booker, all probably right this week, next week. So we haven't been healthy all season. So I
Right.
still think
Well, I
that we
mean
are a
that's
top
that's
three
a
team.
right. Go ahead. Sorry.
I still think we're a top three seed in the West. I know the Nuggets, like you said, the Nuggets. I don't really see them. I mean, I know they're in a one in the conference right now. They beat us twice, pretty good, but that was again without Da, without Booker, without all these guys in the lineup. So I want to see what they can do in the pick and roll. And Chris Paul's having a miserable season. So if he turns it around and he starts lighting it up, then we can kind of get back to maybe 2 years ago. But I do
Speaking of
think.
Chris Paul, man, shoot, no, sorry, I keep cutting you off, dude. I'll shut up.
Well, I just want to mention Golden State, dude, because you mentioned Steph's injury, and I still think they're a really good matchup for a team like the Mavericks, and even with Kyrie on there, because I mean, if Steph can get healthy, if Clay can find a way, Draymond, dude, that guy Draymond, he's really hard to find, and when it comes to the playoffs, man, the Warriors have proved it time and time again. It doesn't matter how many games they win in the regular season, they are a playoff squad and they just turn it up.
Right.
So if Steph can get it going, man, he's still one of the nastiest scorers of all time, if not the nastiest scorer of all time. And I still think that they are still the team to beat in the West
If they're healthy,
if
if
they're
Curry's
healthy.
healthy, if because we look at Clay last night, 12 threes. I mean, Clay is starting to look like Clay.
Yeah.
So if they do get a healthy Steph, then yeah, they're instantly right there. If you ask me, but man, Steph, what did they say? Out indefinitely, or I'm not sure how long it's going to be,
He's
but
got
it's
so they make it sound terrible. They talk about torn ligaments and all this kind of stuff. It's not his knee. It's like his it's like membranes like kind of in his shin and his ankle. So he has like basically a high ankle sprain. They made it sound terrible, like he's going to be out for months. I probably give him a month and a half, 2 months, and again, I'm not a doctor. I don't try to be a doctor, but when you look into the injury and you kind of see what other guys deal with. Like Cam Johnson had a similar issue with his knee. He was out for 2 months. So I really, if they can stay afloat and get into at least the play-in, I would see them being a play-in team, and then being healthy.
you don't
Dude,
want to
like
play them.
yeah,
Yeah,
you do not
yeah.
want to play them. So I can see them just kind of going on a run, man. It doesn't matter if they're at home or not. I mean,
Right, 8 seed, 7 seed, road, whatever. Like they got too much experience. So if they are healthy, then 1,000% they are in the mix one for sure. But I mean, you mentioned Chris Paul and trade deadline.
yeah.
Mentioned roster potential roster adjustments. He was actually just rumored to have been
Mm-hmm.
floated out there for that Kyrie Irving in a trade. So they're on Durant. And that's the big question. That's the $1 million question going around right now is what is Kevin Durant thinking? How is Kevin Durant taking all this? I know he said he was upset with the trade request from Kyrie, but is he upset with the management? Is he upset
Mm-hmm.
with Kyrie? Like, where's his frustration? Does he want out too? To me, it's tough. They brought in some good players, man. If you ask me, Didwitty and Finney Smith, they were helping Dallas win games. Finney Smith is a good perimeter defender, 3-and-D guy. He actually fits well. I said, Dinwiddie, former net, he got them to the playoffs. So, I mean, to me, I think that they actually complement Kevin Durant pretty well, but is he just had enough? Where's his frustration at? It's hard to, I'm not going to play mind reader, but, we'll see how it stands with the whole Kevin Durant.
Yeah, man, I just read something about him today. Him and Joe Desai and that entire organization basically sat down with him, want to talk to him about the future of the franchise. Do you do that the week of trade deadline if they're not seriously thinking about moving him? It's one of the two ways. Either they're like, hey, we're keeping you, we're going to build around you, and the next 3 years we're going to find a way to compete, or they just say, hey, this is what we want to do. Does he say, I'm not about that, I want to win now? I've heard Boston's and Boston has the pieces, man. Boston has the pieces, and they are a serious title contender right now. I know Phoenix has been going around since the
They
summer.
better not trade JB. I had to get in there real quick. If the Celtics trade Jaylen Brown, forget there's no way. They could have done it last year.
Yeah,
They can't do it. He was the best player for the Celtics in the finals. Was
yeah,
Jaylen Brown.
yeah.
He's a baller. He's an all-star this year. This dude is legit. He's young, entering his prime. He's not on the back end of his prime. You're the Celtics. Aren't they in the 1 seed right now? Like, to
They
me,
are.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
They have the best record in basketball. They're the other team that's really quite heavy on him. I know the Lakers do. I don't think the Lakers have enough pieces, man. I don't think the Lakers have enough pieces unless if it's Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, like a whole bunch of stuff. And nobody really is high on Russ anymore, man. Like watching him play, he's just a terrible shooter. He doesn't
That
play
ship is,
defense.
dude, and LeBron can keep crying. Maybe it's me. Oh,
Yeah, that
I
man.
I have
Needs to shut
I
the
have
fuck
Anthony
up.
Davis. I need another All Star. Quick, the whole league needs to help me
Yeah.
out. Oh, poor me. I'm even today. Like, I wish I can go to Starbucks. Like, boo hoo, you're a fucking use your $1 billion and wipe your tears, dude. Get out of here. We can trade places any day of the week. You fucking crybaby.
Yeah, he's the guy that needs to go away. And unfortunately, once he goes away, we got to deal with Bronny. So, and Bronny's going to be the exact same way if he is any good at all. So,
He can shoot. At least he
yeah,
can shoot.
yeah.
Hopefully he's got
So
some dog in him. Maybe he's got some dog in him because his
hopefully it's
daddy
more
don't.
like Scottie Pippen Jr. and like these other juniors that aren't like their dads. So, because I'm tired of the Jameses, man. Like they can go away. But
Yeah, they can't.
anyway,
They're in a, and they got nobody to blame but himself. And it sucks that Rob Pelinka, Russell Westbrook, they take all the heat. It's like, bro, you pick this team, own it, just own it. Go out there, hey, and get your record. You might get it tonight, might get it the next game. Either way, get your record. Hang on to that. At least you got that. But
yeah,
championships, those are long gone, man.
yeah.
But trade deadline, Durant is there anybody else? I know Durant, he might move, but like that's
Well,
that.
I
We
got
like you.
sidetracked. I
Go
didn't
ahead.
finish on Durant, man. I
Mhm.
think with him, I think he wants to be on a contender. And there's really two teams. I think it's Phoenix or Boston that he could go to compete. Now with the Nets, they've talked about not backing off of Mikal Bridges, and I don't blame him. Mikal Bridges is my favorite player in basketball, and he shows up every night and puts up his numbers every night. Guards the best defender. I don't blame
Mr.
the
Iron Man, Mr. Consistent.
I don't blame Brooklyn for wanting him in return. But Monty and James Jones have both said like that's off the table, man. Like they honestly feel like Mikal is a young, Kawhi Leonard, a young KD. I don't think he's as dominant, but that's how they feel about him. And he's been progressing more and more. And with Booker out, man, he's been scoring 25,
Yes.
27
Yeah.
a game. So he has that.
But if
I
you're
don't think he
Brooklyn,
has
like you're not looking to me. If you're Brooklyn and Kevin Durant, say that meeting, hypothetically, if in that meeting, if Kevin Durant did say I want out, and he says, Phoenix or Boston, get me to one of those places. Those are where I want to go. It's like, you're not gonna get, with all due respect, Bridges ain't gonna. Kevin Durant is like a top, when healthy, top 5 player, arguably. He was in the MVP. He had the Nets as the 2 seed, 3 seed. He had them going. A healthy Kevin Durant is still that dude. And I know Bridges is definitely ascending, but he's not like a guy that's going to carry. He might get the Nets to the playoffs in the East, and that's credit to him and how far he's come. But like, he's not a building block. Like, he's not like, to me, if you're going to trade Durant, you just get all
See,
the
that's
draft
where I
picks you
really
can.
strongly disagree with you,
Try
man.
to get you like a number 1 pick or something? Because I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go Dinwiddie and Bridges? Like as soon as you go up against Miami or Boston or Milwaukee, like that's over quick. You know, you're not a serious contender with those kind of guys. Like you can't unless they package multiple like Aiton and Bridges. But even then, like, why does he want to go to Or he can still have Booker. Him and Booker is a badass duo by themselves. So potentially, I'm not sure how that. You know,
It
because
wouldn't
it's
make
Kevin Durant.
sense.
Like it's going to cost a lot. Yeah, it's hard to see a deal.
It's
You
gonna
know,
it would require uh Jay Crowder, which we've talked about this, man. I don't know why the asking price is so high, but teams are willing to pay it for whatever reason. Da can't get traded, so we can just throw Da off the table. He can't get traded because of his contract. I mean, maybe Chris Paul would be involved in the deal, but then it kind of leaves us without a point guard.
I feel like him and like, cause didn't he want what part of the reason he wanted to go to Phoenix was for Chris Paul? Like, I feel like him and Chris Paul are boys, and like he kind of maybe would have liked that Chris Paul deal. Are they involving him in like, hey, do you want? Maybe he picked the Dinwiddie and Finney Smith because I mean, as far as wing defenders, getting Finney Smith is nice. That's a really
Yeah.
good fit. You'd rather have Chris Paul maybe than Dinwiddie for right now. But even then, right now, like Dinwiddie's in his prime. You know, Chris Paul's obviously in the back end of his
Mhm.
prime, so maybe Kevin Durant had some input on that decision if they're smart anyway, because they got to check with their best player because
Well,
ultimately he's going to determine how they move going forward.
yeah, the last thing I want to say about the Nets, man, is that that owner doesn't seem to be very and Marks, Ryan Mark, I
Bobby
can't,
Marks,
what's his name?
Bobby or Ryan or Bobby Marks, Ryan Marks.
Something Marks is the last name. Their GM is they seem a little trigger happy, man, and they did take I will say they did take the best deal for Kyrie. I do think that was their best deal on the table for him. Taking an old Chris Paul and kind of a lowly
Jay
Jay
Crowder,
Crowder.
old too. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
old too,
like
man.
that
I
would have been
thought
a
that the Clippers one, the one with Terrence Mann, and because Luke Kennard is wet, and then Terrence Mann is a young, good athletic guard that might complement really well, but he's
yeah.
no Dinwiddie. Like right now, Dinwiddie can get you a bucket a
Well,
lot
the
more than
Mavericks
Terrence
also
Mann
included
can.
a whole bunch of picks, a lot
All
more
right.
picks than the Clippers did. So that's what really enticed them because they're in build mode. They are. They're going to be in build mode. They got two pieces they can build around. With, I mean, if they keep Kevin Durant, if they're saying, "Hey, this is what we want to do, Kevin, keep you here," we now have pieces around you. I mean, they still have shooters like Seth Curry around them too. I mean, they
Dude,
still
they
have
have
pieces
some
around them.
pretty good role players. Royce O'Neal,
Yeah.
they got DFS, Steph Curry or Seth Curry. Yeah, they got some Joe Harris,
Joe
another
Harris.
good
Yeah, I was gonna say
shooter.
Joe
Yeah,
Harris,
so
dude. So
yeah,
and
they have good role players around him. It's just, is that enough for him? Is because it ultimately falls on him. Does he want to, have all that on his shoulders? Because he went to Golden State and win a championship, and it was evenly, he wasn't the bus driver. That's what Shaq calls it. Now
Mhm.
you got to be the bus driver. You got to be the main guy now. So it's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Do he want that, or does he want to go the easy route like all these guys are doing nowadays,
Yeah.
and team up with a bunch of guys? So we'll see what approach he takes to. But he moved around enough, man. Stay. If you want my opinion, obviously I'm not him, but stay put, man. Ride it out. You got some good players around you. Get healthy and try to make a run in the East.
Yeah, and the point I was trying to make about Joe Tsai is this dude is, I'm gonna start calling him Joe Petty, man. Like there's that rumor that he didn't want to trade with the Lakers because that's who he wanted to go to. I mean, if I was KD, I'd want to go to Boston. That's where I would want to go. I mean, they were just in the finals. Like he has the best chance of winning a title there. So that's probably the one team that they won't trade him to. So I mean, I've heard the Raptors are a possibility, but I don't know I don't know if Kyrie had a no trade clause, or I don't know if KD has one. But
Bro,
man, that
imagine
guy's
like
petty as
because
fuck.
Kevin Durant, if he gets beat by the Warriors, then joins the Warriors, then gets beat by the Celtics, then joins the Celtics. Like he can never live that down. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I heard the rumors. Stephen A. put him out there about the Celtics and everything, and they do. Like, if they offer Jaylen Brown, because to me, man, Jaylen Brown, he's a building block for sure. So I would jump all over that if I was the Nets,
Oh hell yeah,
and then
dude.
just max him out for
Yeah.
sure. So,
But
but yeah, no, I think he's gonna end up staying put though, personally.
yeah, and there's and further than just Kevin Durant, man, there's other semi big names out there. I know Fred Van Vliet is has been rumored to be maybe on the move. I've seen Pascal Siakam's name out there, and he's a big man. That's a very skilled big man. If he went to a title contender, like that would be a really big piece. So I mean,
The
maybe a tag.
Clippers, man, that if the Clippers can offer the same deal you offered for Kyrie almost for Van Fleet, you get him next to those guys. I think that's a nice little fit there.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some other names floating around. I think we're going to have a heavy next couple of days. Tomorrow things are starting to start heating up. I'm really hoping Phoenix moves Jay Crowder because he's just dead weight, dead
They
salary
have
for us now.
to, right? They have to, right?
Take anything you can get for him because he's not returning to the team. Like that guy is such a
Maybe that's what it
guy to be
is.
bitch. He
Maybe
can go
they're
away now.
just waiting. Well, maybe they have like an offer and they're like, okay, let's just hold out till Thursday. We might get a better offer. Maybe there is some interest around there for him. I mean, he's a good player, and honestly, he's won almost everywhere he goes. He's a 3-and-D kind of guy. He plays like more of like the 4 though now. I know his foot speed
Yeah.
is definitely behind him. He can't really keep, but he's a physical guy. He's down to bang, and he hits actually some big shots. But then he also goes cold sometimes. You can attest to
Like
that
in the
more than me. So
playoffs every fucking
yeah.
year. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's 36% career 3-point shooter. He's like 27% in the fucking playoffs. It's terrible. But yeah, I mean that's really it, man. I mean, I really don't know any other big names. I know Chicago has some names floating around that they might be willing to
Yeah, no,
sell.
the Zach LaVine. I actually heard that the
Yeah,
Lakers, even though saying that they were done and out of it, and that's where they should be going. That dude, he went to UCLA. He's a young athlete. He could shoot. He runs the floor, plays without the ball. He would be a nice fit from a basketball perspective in with the Lakers and LeBron. So that's what they should be doing. And I remember that whole Buddy Hield, thing with the Pacers, but it seems like the Pacers are actually competing a little bit this year. So
mhm.
I think that ship was kind of sailed. But man, yeah, that Zach LaVine one, I have heard those rumors that they might accept that because for whatever reason, it's not working over there in Chicago.
Yeah.
I just get the feeling it's just not working over there.
Well,
So
now
they
that
might move
DeMar's
him.
not having the season he had last year, they're bottom of the barrel. So they need to make some moves. I don't know if they need to bring somebody. It's not the year to bring anybody in. Like they ain't doing nothing. So they sound like they're gonna be sellers, and they might sell off everybody and just accumulate draft picks and see what happens. But I'm also last thing. Sorry, I keep thinking of things, but I also heard that Brooklyn might be willing to move Spencer Dinwiddie straight away. So would that be a smart move from them? I mean, I think he's home now. He's talked about how the Nets built him. He's
Right.
healthy now, and he's been playing
Yeah.
pretty well. I think he's averaging
He's been.
17 points a game or something like
Yeah.
that since
He's
he's
been.
been in
Yes.
Dallas.
Yep. Hmm.
That's
And he's the fit they need. They need someone else that can handle the ball, that can create plays for himself and for others. Because right now they're dependent on Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons just ain't that guy, man. He can play defense and get out in transition, but he's not. He ain't that guy. So they need someone that actually make plays and hit shots. And to me, like in clutch situations, Dinwiddie's going to be in the lineup probably with how do you want to play? You want to go defensively because then you go Royce O'Neal, Finney Smith, Durant, and then Claxton. Or if you want to go small, take out one of those wing defenders. You can go spacing with Curry and get Curry in the mix.
mhm.
Or put Curry for Dinwiddie, bring Dinwiddie off the bench. I think that's what they should do, honestly. So that way they always have a kind of a guy that's a playmaker out there. I'd start Curry so that way he can space the floor with KD and everything, and then with the second unit, Dinwiddie's like kind of just doing his thing, being the
Yeah,
man. And they kind of did the same thing in Dallas when he was over there. So he
yeah,
can get used to that role. And he's done that before. That's what he does. So I think he'll fit well like that. But closing time, he'll be on the floor. And I think they got to keep him. If they have any interest in winning and competing this year, like you got him for a reason. He was the main acquisition in that trade, if you ask me. 3-and-D guy like Finney Smith, he's valuable, sure, but you can get those all over the place. You could, like, Jay Crowder is kind of similar to that,
mhm.
but a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, he can drop 40 points and carry you to a dub like he's done already this year. Like those guys don't, they're hard to come by. So he's a
Yeah,
good player. So I think he's definitely worth keeping, unless they're in complete sell mode. But then you trade Durant too, and I don't think that's happening. I think they're gonna, at how they are right now. I think they are probably third in the East. Completely healthy. If you get Durant healthy, I think the Celtics and Bucks are probably one. Or Heat. Heat might have something to say about that. But even then, Durant, like who they got for KD? KD's gonna eat them up. So I would
yeah.
take the Nets, honestly. So I think they're gonna keep Spencer. But I mean that we'll get over the hoops. I mean, we're talking hoops. We'll see if any more trades happen. That's kind of some speculation from
Yeah,
us
we'll
at
find
that
out in
point.
2 days, man. I think the league's gonna shift a little bit in the next 2 days. I don't know if there's gonna be a Kyrie style trade, but I do think there's gonna be some important trades happening in the next 2 days. So
And one last thing to just on hoops, real quick that you just mentioned, and it kind of got me thinking. Like it didn't work, right? With Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, they let the players come together, players decide, and man, that didn't work. So I think maybe those days of the whole player empowerment and the players, making all the decisions, you see the Nets owner like, nah, not no more, with Kyrie. So I think it's going to get back in. They're not going to really see that anymore. I think these owners are going to take matters in their own hands, so they're not completely lost. Because if they
mm,
lose Kevin Durant, if he goes in there and really does say I'm out, like what are the Nets looking like, for the next 10 years?
bad.
Not good.
Terrible, yeah. I mean, they're starting to stockpile picks, so it will take about 5 to 7 years for them to start to develop their team again. So they'd have to make some moves again. But yeah, man, we'll see in a couple days even. But I agree with you about the player coach thing. Like they did Steve Nash dirty, but I mean, he wasn't a good coach anyway.
Right, right.
I'm wearing his jersey right now, dude. I love Steve Nash, but he was a terrible coach. Great player, terrible coach. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, you look at across the league, Boston, um, Milwaukee,
Homegrown.
Golden State, they all have great coaches. Phoenix, I love Monty Williams. So you talk about these teams that have ascended through the top of the league. They don't have a coach.
Homegrown. They drafted most
Yeah.
of them, like all these guys, dude. And shoot, that's the way to go, obviously. So,
So
but yeah, that's it for hoops, man. You want to get into the other huge
hell
news,
yeah,
or
I
you
do,
have
man.
anything else?
I've been waiting to talk about this one, dude. We had some big fight news come out yesterday, right? We finally found out who our tough coaches are, dude, and I cannot wait to. I haven't watched The Ultimate Fighter, dude. I think since Nate Diaz was on it, like it was at season 1, season 2. I haven't watched it in
I
years.
watched the last Connor one. I watched when Connor was on there
Yeah,
against
you're right. I
Faber,
watched a
and
couple
then I,
episodes.
I watched with TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt. I watched that one too. But yeah, it's been a long time, and man, you bet your ass I'll be tuning in to this one.
This one's gonna
King
be
is
good,
back,
dude.
man. The King is
Yeah.
back. He's gonna be taking on Michael Chandler at 170 pounds. We'll see, man. We'll see what Connor it is. That's the big question.
So this is actually a very interesting fight to me because Michael Chandler is a good wrestler too, and I like Michael Chandler, man. I think he's a great fighter. He's an exciting fighter to watch.
Entertainer, yes, I was about to say
Yeah,
he is an entertainer.
when he fought Gaethje, I mean, you name it, whoever he fought, like it was an entertaining fight. And he just fucking brings it, dude. Like he may not be the most skilled fighter, but he just fucking brings it. And Connor, the one thing I'll say about Connor, dude, is we haven't really seen him have a good performance since Donald Cerrone. And I mean, Donald Cerrone was not in his weight class, dude. So I mean, he hasn't really had a really good performance since Alvarez. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can get Connor back. It's his first fight since he shattered his leg. And but I think this is going to be a really fun fight and a really fun season of Tough to watch.
That first round is gonna be fireworks for sure. But the whole coaching thing, and he mentioned it. He mentioned getting fully back into the sport, and getting just throwing himself all the way in there because he's got, when you're a billionaire, you got a lot of shit going on,
Mhm.
So, I don't blame him one bit. But if he gets into the coaching aspect, if he's probably gonna be training himself, fighting at the end of it. So, I think it could do him well. And then, obviously. I saw Dustin Poirier. He's had a lot to say about these guys and shit. But he himself's picked Connor. He's hittable. We've seen Michael Chandler be very hittable against Gaethje, against Poirier. We've seen him get put away, but he's also very durable.
Yeah.
So Connor's gonna have to hang in there. And he's gonna shoot. So Connor's gonna have to have that takedown defense.
Mhm.
Eventually, he's gonna shoot. I think Connor's gonna bust him up on the feet like he does most people, and then Michael's gonna shoot. And if does he get it? Because if he gets it, you mentioned it. He's a big, strong, very good wrestler. So if he gets that top position, we all know Connor's not very good down there. So if he does get down there, then obviously Chandler has the big advantage. And is he going to be able to shoot? Does Connor spark him and get him out of there early? I personally think he does, man. I think they're going to be big, strong, and precision beats power. He said that every time. And I think he's, proven that he can be accurate. And man, he's looks like a fucking tank his damn self right now. Connor is massive. So if he can get his timing right and still have that same precision and add a little power behind it, then I think he could, he could put him out. And I think that's probably where the first round, you don't want to miss this one. First round, it might not get past that one.
Yeah, I seriously doubt it, dude. These guys are going to come out. I think it's going to be one of the funnest, most fun fights we've seen in a long time.
Right.
But I've seen both sides. I've already seen both camps kind of put their 2 cents in. Michael Chandler did come out and he did say, "Hey, he's a very accurate and very fast fighter, and he's a great striker."
Explosive.
He does think that he has more power, which may be true if you look at a power
Yeah.
standpoint. But
Right.
Connor's a better boxer. He's better stand up, and it's not even close. Michael Chandler he's going to shoot for wrestling, and he's going to try to get them to takedown. He's going to try to lay on him, which was kind of what Jose Aldo, his plan was when that fight came. So if he shoots and kind of puts his head down, dude, like Connor, we all see how fast Connor can knock you out. So it depends on how Michael Chandler comes in that fight, dude. If he comes in and he's smart and he kind of stands up and he tires Connor out a little bit, because I think Michael Chandler has the bigger gas tank too. So if it goes into the second, third, fourth round, Connor's in trouble.
I think he's more durable. He's more durable. He has a bigger gas tank, 100%. Precision, man. I think if Connor can clip him more, it's hard to get him one good clump time and get him out of there. Like I mentioned, how durable he is. So you're gonna have to hit him a few good clean times, and then eventually TKO. Finish with some ground and pound maybe or something. But he's gonna do that. I think that's what I feel. That's my Mystic BT prediction is that probably around 2 minutes or a minute left in the first round. So, but there's gonna be a feel out. There's gonna be a feel out process though, because they do respect each other. So there's gonna be a feel out. But once they get going, these are the two probably most entertaining guys on the roster, and they're gonna live up to the hype. These guys are gonna get after it early. And the first minute is going to be a nice little feel out process. But once they get in that pocket and start engaging, they're going to get after it. And I see Connor just hitting them, like I said, a nice little combo, like he did to Eddie Alvarez, little 3-piece, bang, bang, bang.
And I have my feelings about Eddie Alvarez in that
clean
fight.
shots.
He was not even in Connor's weight class, but he was the champion. So, and Connor moved up for that fight, and
to that point, Eddie was undisputed. Jose was undisputed. He was the only true undisputed double champ. These other guys were, getting interim belts or whatever. They weren't, and then when they weren't for the undisputed, they lost one. So the only true double champ to this day is still Connor.
Yeah, and that fight against Eddie Alvarez, dude. I mean, that was the best Connor we've ever seen. I don't think we'll ever see it again, but the only thing I wish is this fight would have happened 5 years ago between him and Michael Chandler back when they were both like right in their primes, 2017, 2018, right when they're in their primes. Michael Chandler was with Bellator, but that would have been a fucking great fight 5 years ago. But going from that fight to one more big fight, I know you fight fans like, hey, I'm tired of hearing about Conor McGregor. Well, there's a big fight this weekend too, man, between Volkanovski and Islam. I can't even pronounce his last name, but Islam. And Makhachev. There you go. That is going to be, I don't want to say the best fight of all time, because that's really, there's been so many great fights.
It's 1 versus 2, right? And pound for pound on the current pound for pound, there's 2 champs, both in their prime.
There's so many great fights in history, but this has got to be up there, dude. And it hasn't really been talked about, or at least it hasn't been like on social media that much, because both fighters are, to me, they're both unstoppable. And now it's just, dude, immovable object against, an unmovable force, or whatever the fucking saying is. Right. And they're gonna meet on Saturday, dude. That's the one fight I might actually pay-per-view, dude, because I love Volkanovski, dude. The way this guy fights, he just picks guys apart and just beats them to shit. And then Islam just can finish you any way he wants to.
Right. For sure.
So I don't even know if I can make a prediction. That's how good of a fight this is going to be.
Right. No, it definitely is. When you got the 1 versus 2, it kind of has to be. I'm definitely not pay-per-viewing real quick. Fuck Dana White. He won't ever get any of my money. I'll get into more of that here in a little bit. That fucking bum,
Oh, I
or
forgot
not
about
bum,
that.
but that guy, he ain't getting none of my money. But no, I'll stream that shit every time.
Oh,
But
you're right. I could.
yeah,
I'll go to the fucking bar down the street and I'll have them pay it for me.
there you go. Fuck that. He ain't getting my money. Um, but no, dude, as far as that fight goes, dude, like, man, they're fighters. You know, we just talked about some entertainers. These guys aren't here to entertain. That's why you don't see all the hype behind it. But they're the pound for pound best. You know, the thing Volkanovski, right? He's obviously got them hand speed, I'm gonna say, and then Islam is saying, I don't know if this is playing mind games or what. He's saying that he wants to show off his striking, you know, and he's a bigger guy. You should have the reach and everything, but man, I don't know if that's a game you want to play. This dude's bad. We saw him just bouncing the Korean zombie's head around like nobody's business.
Dude, and
You know,
KZ's
even
a
Max
badass
Holloway.
fighter.
Right, and Max Holloway's got pieced up what 3 times, so everybody gets it, man. He's went through everyone. He's a fucking savage. Um, Ultimately, though, that dude, fucking that Islam man, he's when he grabs people, it is
Hmm.
just he just locks them, dude.
Like a
Like they can't
cobra.
move.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look at his back though. That fool's on something. I don't know what they're doing down there in Dagestan. What they feed their kids or what they inject them with. I don't know what they're doing over there. But man, they got some crazy strength and yeah, and just the size. I think that ultimately they can say that, but just like Khabib, man, like these guys, they go to their bread and butter at the end of the day, and look, the size matchup is just going to be too much. He looked way bigger than Oliveira in there, and Oliveira was starting to look big at 155. But he looks bigger than everybody else. He's obviously stronger than everybody else. I think that we'll see though if he wants to test that stand up. Volk's gonna have to get him out of there, and he can. But because he's gonna have to daze him. I don't think he's gonna clip him and just put him out. But if you can daze him and put that pressure and get a TKO himself, then that could be the way. But I kind of sense Islam, you know, feeling that pressure. He might test it out early. He might catch one or two and be like, okay, this isn't the strategy that's gonna work for me. And then when he shoots and he goes, and these guys, they just like Khabib, man. Like he might feel you out a little bit. He might, make you think you have a little chance there, and all of a sudden they go to their thing. They get you on the ground and they fucking strangle you, man. And they beat you up. They fucking play that bully thing. There's some weight cutting bullies, man. There's no way he should be at 55, but I mean, they make weight, so more power
Yeah.
to you. That's what I like about Connor and some of these guys. Like he ain't going down on 55. He's gonna fight at 170. He fights at 3 different weight classes. And like he's not gonna starve himself. He used to do that. But those days
Dude,
are long gone.
145. That was terrible.
Right, right. But man, these weight bullies, not a fan. I like the guys that are down to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. And you're fighting a smaller guy, and I think ultimately that's what's going to be the biggest difference. I'm personally rooting for Volk. I like the guy. I
Mhm.
feel like he's more well-rounded overall. But like I said, because on the stand-up, even on the ground, he's really good. But just the size matchup is going to play a huge factor when it gets down there in the strength matchup. He'll be able to control him. So I think that Islam, he'll get it done. Probably it might go the distance, but he'll get it done. Probably championship rounds if he does get him out of there. It's going to be hard. This dude, we saw Ortega strangling this full Volkanovski, and he was still able to work
You,
his way out.
you took
So
you
it's going
took
to
long
take
enough, but
some.
that was my next point. Damn it! I was gonna say the only way. There's two ways this fight's gonna go. It's either gonna be like a third round submission by Islam, or it's gonna go 5 rounds, and Volk's gonna piece him up. So you mentioned it, dude, Brian. That was the fight where Volk almost lost, and I'm a huge Volkanovski fan, dude. Every fight I'm a big Conor McGregor fan too. I just
Yeah.
like the guy. I've been to his bar. I've been to Dublin. Like, I love the guy. I'm sorry for you Conor haters. Fuck you. That's all I gotta say. But I love Volkanovski
You
too.
just hate your own life.
Yeah, yeah, no shit, dude. Like, you're just jealous of the fucking guy.
Let the
Um,
man live.
yeah, but dude, Volkanovski, I think, is my favorite fighter to actually watch because he's so technically sound in every aspect of his game. But that Brian Ortega fight, dude, he was in what was a rear naked choke, right? and
deep waters, man.
I'm sitting here thinking like,
You
how
see
is
him
this
start
dude like
squirming. He was swerving,
not?
dude. You know he was feeling that.
And Ortega's not a fucking slump, dude. Like he had
Oh,
that
dude.
thing locked in, and if it wasn't
Snake.
for, he got tired, dude, and he let it go. He had to let it go. And then after that, I was like, wow, wow. And that
It
was the
takes a
moment that
mental, yeah, that championship mindset, dude, and he's got that. He probably has the strongest mind, going right now. That championship, that killer instinct, that dude, he's the man. That's why he's pound for pound number one.
yeah. So I mean, that's how I could see it. If he, but see, Islam is a different dude. He's a different Cobra, dude. So if he gets that lock in, like no offense to Brian Ortega, he gets a choke like
Yeah,
that, and
yeah,
he's probably going to be able to finish it.
for sure.
So I see that going
It's
one
crazy.
way.
He don't even have to get it all the way under the neck, too. Like he'll just squeeze your fucking skull, dude. It's
Yeah,
crazy, like a watermelon.
yeah.
It's wild, dude.
But what Volk did to Korean Zombie, and Korean Zombie's not a slouch either, dude. I could see the fight maybe going that way too. So that's how I see this fight going in both ways. I want Volkanovski to win because these Dagestanis, man, I'm just tired of them. No offense to Khabib, he's one of the greatest fighters ever. He was such a boring guy to watch, and I know people are gonna get at me for that one, but he just was boring. Even when he fought Connor, like
Right.
he didn't do anything until he laid on him and then just submitted him. Like,
Right.
yes, he is so skilled. He's so great. And, I give him credit for being probably the greatest fighter and definitely in his weight class of all time. But it just, he's kind of like Floyd Mayweather. Like, just goes in there, he knows how to win and he'll win. But
Right.
is he the greatest boxer ever? I wouldn't throw it
Hell
out there.
no.
But,
I don't think so.
yeah, these Dagestanis are pissing me off, man.
Yeah, a fighter's fighter. They fight at multiple weight classes. They're not a weight bully. A true fighter goes up. Even Anderson Silva bounced around. BJ Penn back in the day bounced around. These guys, I think GSP he came up late, but he handpicked a Michael Bisping. To me, that was weak as fuck. So like he stayed at 170 the whole time, and he was kind of a bully there too. To me, these guys that move around, even like Israel Adesanya. He's fighting a guy, Pereira, that's way bigger than him, that should be in a higher weight class. He even went up in weight class. This dude fights anyone, and he actually fights people. He'll stand there and he'll fight with you. There's a reason why, he's the most entertaining, the highest selling guy since Connor, and he's like basically the star of the company now, is because he's a fighter, dude. He gets down. People could hate on him too, all they want, but dude, he's going in there against bigger guys and he's putting it on the line every time, and he's down the fight. Like the Polish Power had to lay on him to get a win, and he, to credit to him, he did that. But Izzy also went up and took that challenge because he cleaned the division clean. So what's next? You take every challenge that comes in front of you. That's what true fighters do. And that's why I mess with Connor, I mess with Izzy. These guys are the true fighters.
Did you hear what Robert Whitaker said about Izzy and Alex Pereira? Did you hear that interview? See, I'm a Robert Whitaker. He's my third fighter, dude. I love Robert Whitaker. He's just funny as fuck.
I think he beats Pereira.
So he's talking about how Israel's the best fighter he's ever fought against. And I mean, Israel's a big guy. He's talking about how big Israel is. And you don't really think about it because he's so skinny, but he's 6'4", he's a big dude. And Pereira just fucking towers him. So how big this guy
towers guys at what? I don't know if he's light heavyweight or he towers the next guy up. Yeah, he showed him next to the guy they just fought. He looks as big as Costa, dude. He's massive.
Yeah, so I mean, he probably goes in that fight over 200 pounds against Izzy. So and Izzy probably walks around at 185
for sure.
So but he talks about how big Pereira is, but Pereira, dude, he caught him. He's caught him a couple times, and
if he catches anyone, man,
yeah, that guy is going to pull your head off.
Yeah.
Sure. But Whitaker was saying how he would rather fight Izzy. He'd rather fight Pereira. He'd rather fight.
Pereira. For sure. Because you saw the way that Izzy handled Pereira on the ground, and if Izzy's handling you like that, can you imagine what Whitaker would do? Yeah. Because Izzy's, that's not his game at all, and that's if it was, he could have kept him there, because that dude looked like he couldn't swim and he was in deep water. He didn't know what was going on the ground. So Whitaker and some of these other guys, they're going to take him there, and so he's smart for honestly getting this match, because he's going to go with a guy that's going to stand and do what he does with him. It's going to be a kickboxing UFC fight. And they're going to go at it again. I mean, Izzy was up 3-1. He was cruising. He was
Mhm.
cruising. Then he got clipped. And it happens. This dude's got major pop. So he got clipped. It happened. Is what it is. We'll see how the rematch goes. Speaking of weight changes and returns, Johnny Jones coming back at heavyweight um, against Cyril Gahn. If you ask me, to me, like Ngannou had that puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this dude's quite got that. And right now, John Jones, he's big, he's strong. I know he had some time off, the whole ring rust thing, yada yada. I think he's gonna be John Jones, man. He's gonna bully people. It's what he does. He's gonna maul people. Drop some elbows on him, get some top position, bloody him up. You know how this fool John Jones gets down. He's gonna hurt. He's gonna hurt this guy. And heavyweight
Yeah.
champ. We'll see how long he can hold this one down.
John Jones, man. See, I talk about greatest fighters of all
Goat.
time.
Yeah.
He is the greatest fighter of all time. He will fight anybody in the promotion. Doesn't matter who it is, what weight class. If it's on the street, in the octagon, this guy is going to get down at you, and he doesn't lose. I think his one loss is what
Yeah.
disqualification. So,
Yeah. Mhm.
and which was kind of a man.
Nobody's beating him. Yeah, nobody's beating him inside the octagon. Some people say, what was that,
Gustafson.
Gustafson? Yeah,
Yeah,
some people say that one, but even then, looking back at it, he got that clean spinning back, and just got Gustafson good. So that was a good fight to me.
it was
And you
close.
got to really, and when you're the champ, when you're the defending champ, you got to really be
To be the champ,
definitive
you got
in
to beat the
taking it.
champ.
You got
Yeah.
to take it, yeah. And he didn't take it. You can't have a close fight with the defending champ and expect to win. It's going to go the champ's
And
way.
the thing about John Jones, dude, is it's kind of like Anderson Silva back in the day. Like he can finish you in multiple ways, whether it's an elbow, a knee, a kick, fucking wrestling, submission. He'll knock you out. Like there are so many different ways this guy can beat you that you can't really game plan for him. Like these other fighters, like Connor, you can plan for a stand up. Volk's kind of another one of those guys. Like he's a good wrestler too. He's hard to game plan for. So these guys, John Jones is impossible to game plan. And we've seen him at 205. Now he's going to be at
Mhm.
heavyweight.
Yeah,
This
if
guy
he
is going
worked
to
on
be
his boxing, if he can box, because his stand up has always been the weakest part of his game. Like if it's anywhere on the ground or in the clinch, like if you clinch with this guy, you're fucked. So
Yeah.
you can't do it. But if he can stand if he can jab you up, because he's always had those long ass arms. So if he can jab you up, dude, then night he's gonna like. That's what I mentioned. He's gonna win this one. Then it'll be Stipe. Then he'll beat Stipe. And then how long is this dude going to go on this run at heavyweight? And it just sucks. This is what I talk about Dana White. Fuck Dana White, because you let Francis go. Like these terms weren't even that bad. First of all, you slap your fucking wife and then you act like a punk about it. And every fighter in UFC history, just think about it. GSP walks away in his prime. Connor walks away in his prime. Ngannou gone in his prime. You name a big fighter, Brock Lesnar in and out. Like you name, Ronda Rousey dipped. Every UFC big fighter, they have to make their money somewhere else, doing something else. And he just, never takes care of his fighters, has no accountability for being a dirtbag. So it's,
Mhm.
for me, that's why he'll never get any of my money. I'll stream every one of these fights forever. It's easy as fuck. Everybody can do it. So I'll always stream. But yeah, man, John Jones, to me, he's gonna have another long, long run. And like I said about Ngannou, like who doesn't want to see that? Who doesn't want to see Ngannou and John Jones? But we'll never get to see it because of fucking Dana White. And just like we've never get to see plenty of big fight, we never saw Ferguson and Khabib. That was kind of their fault, whatever. But there are plenty of fights that Dana White, like just too much politics for me, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I'm kind of bummed that it's not Nagano because that guy, holy shit, dude, that guy can
right,
hit, you know.
right.
What he's done to the division and just when he connects, dude, I'm surprised some of these guys' heads have stayed on. I mean, that's how hard that dude
No
is.
shit,
You are getting hit by a fucking train, so
dude.
you're kind of bummed,
Gorilla.
but yeah, man, I think we kind of touched on everything. I mean, is there anything,
Yeah,
any
definitely,
other fights or
definitely, man.
fighters?
No, that's it. That's it. We've touched on everything. It's been a while. We're definitely happy to be back in the swing of things. So, thanks for sticking with us, guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Make sure you guys subscribe, and A2D. Catch you guys later.
Agree to disagree.